So this is talking about the theory of mind and karma. So you can see on the left-hand side, it says 6 roots, 6 consciousnesses, 6 dusts. The 6 roots, eyes, you know, your body has eyes, and it has ears, and it has a nose, a tongue, a body, and we're able to think. We call that mind. Also, if you skip to the third one, 6 dusts. This world has color. Eye sees color. Our brain makes it into some form that we give a name to. Microphone, floor, cushion. But our eye reflects color and shades of white, gray, and black. That's what's coming in. What's coming in is 2-dimensional. We, in our brain, make it 3-dimensional. Make a 3-dimensional thing out of it so we can survive. It's an amazing thing that the brain does. So this world has color, sound, smell, taste, and touch. And it also, we have this ability to create an object of mind in our mind, something we think about. We create that. Then, even if you have an eye and this world has color, if you don't have an eye consciousness, you'll be blind. Some people are blind because the eye is damaged. Some people are blind because there's no eye consciousness in there. And that's true for each of the 6 senses, okay? Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness. So this is called the 18 realms. Buddha called this the 18 realms. These are functioning when we're born. A baby has this when it comes out, okay? So babies can hear sound if they have ears, ear consciousness, and a sound is made. Can smell things if there's a nose, nose consciousness, and an odor in the air. So we already have this functioning. This is like a animal, the same as an animal, you know. The higher level animal, dogs, cats, apes, they have this in some fashion. Then a baby's mind is very simple. It doesn't think about you and me. I want, I don't want. When it's hungry, when its body feels hunger, it cries. It doesn't think about, I'm hungry. Actually, Musangsa said, little children don't have any checking mind. So if they're in a crowded bus station or an airport and they're upset, they just scream. I think it's kind of cool, even though it's sort of annoying if you're there. We don't do that. And if an adult does that, everybody says they're crazy because they are not behaving. But little children, they have no problem. They just go berserk, you know. So they're not thinking about this so much, you know. Even as they get to be 2, 3, they don't have a lot of thinking. So it's very simple. Something's in their mouth, they don't think, yummy. They just, or there's no thinking about it, okay? That's our original reflect to circumstances. And no particular awareness about it. Little bit the awareness starts to grow because they also have no language, no words. So, you know, babies have, when we look at them, they have suffering or not. But it's not really a problem. They have they just do it. They just do it. Later, the problems appear. Then looking here, on this top row here, there's a 7. Okay? So the first 6 are usually grouped together and just called 6 consciousness. 6 consciousnesses, but we just call them 6 consciousness. We're born with them, they're functioning. The 7th consciousness begins to appear 1 and 2 years old. That's when we start to recognize we're separate. There's some kind of separation between us and the world. It's opposite mind, me and you. If mom's nice to me when her face appears, I'm happy. If somebody's scary when their face appears, don't like it. In the beginning, they just react. But then they start to know the difference. We are like that. So then we have opposite thinking, okay? And this taints the experience of these first 6, depending on what's in your 7th consciousness, okay? Around 3 or 4, this memory consciousness, which in Buddha's teaching they call Alaya consciousness, storehouse. They say that our consciousness is like a tape recorder that records everything, even from previous lives. Then, around 3 or 4, it starts functioning again. So, for example, there was this one woman who liked snakes. And at one of our Zen centers, she lived in California at the Zen Center, Empty Gate, and she had 2 pet snakes in her room. They weren't poisonous, but people usually don't like snakes. She had a big, glass thing, and the snakes were in it. And once in a while, the snakes would get out, and she'd be so upset looking all over the house for the snakes. And sometimes she would put the snake on the Buddha statue, and sometimes it would wrap around and feel comfortable, and people would come down for practice, and they'd see it and freak out. I visited there once. She had been there a couple of years, and she invited me to her room because she wanted to introduce the snakes to me. And she took one out and let me touch it, and it went up my jacket and was like it was sort of exploring. And I was like, is he happy? Is it okay? Is that a boy or a girl? So nobody liked it, but she loved it. So people asked her, Sahn why Sahn called her Snake Woman. He says, Snake Woman. Before life, she may be snake, but she likes snakes. Then it turned out she was really scared of spiders. Most people aren't that scared of spiders. They're little things, You just knock them out of the way or something. But she was terrified of spiders. Then Sahn told her, that comes from past life karma. Something from before starts to function, and then there it is. So there are many things in our 8th consciousness, If you really were very, very good at something in the past, it can appear again. This woman, she very much like snakes, appeared again. So those things come often from before life. Then what happens, though, is as these start functioning, and we make more according to our choices, according to what we pay attention to. We add to this. That has a huge effect on the experience of the 6 senses. It taints them. That's called I. And if some of you knew Dungmyeon Gosanim, he was Seung Sahn student from maybe the 1960s or so at Hwagesa. And he was telling me when Seung Sahn would teach the laymen there, he would tell them, you must purify the senses. Take out like and dislike, good and bad. When you see the floor, yellow. That's all. He said, if you take that out of your consciousness and your senses are pure, what we say all the time, sky's blue, tree's green, dog goes woof woof, sugar sweet. We make good and bad, like and dislike. But just clear, it's very clear. if we don't make that. He said, I appears very subtly in this opposite thinking, in the senses, because we make opposite thinking. If you purify the senses, very interesting how he said this, when you die, you won't be afraid of animal rebirth. That sounds kind of serious. So here we are. So what is this point? What is that? We call primary point. What is that? What in here is that affecting? Number 6. You're switching the object of mind, both what's reflected and your seventh, what the contents of your 7th and 8th, to this. That becomes, for a moment, your object of mind. Only the feeling and the sound. Your mind has nothing else in it that moment. That's what it's doing. And that starts to reduce the effects of what's in the 7th and 8th consciousness. And if that becomes strong, we can perceive that originally it's all empty. And then it's like in the Diamond Sutra, where the sixth patriarch heard a sentence from the Diamond Sutra, don't attach to anything that arises in your mind. So even one thing arises, you don't attach to it. Our problem with thinking is the thinking branches and gets more complicated. And then very hard to get back to this point. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. You know, we all follow a simple schedule with some simple forms. Yeah, maybe in the West, they're a little different. Here, they're this way. In Hong Kong, they're a little different. They're basically the same, but the chanting sound changes as we separate. When Seung would travel around in America, at least all the time, he'd always correct the chanting. Not like, this is right, this is wrong, just this is what he told us to do. You know, form is made up stuff that has some value. And it allows us, by following the same form, to see, can I just do it? Or is my mind not clear? Or do I have lots of opinions? And then I don't just do it. Because all our opinions come from 7th and 8th consciousness. And they taint this. And then we're not clear and we're not skillful. So hit isn't just like some kind of style. Okay, I got a hit, that's this school. You know, every time they ask me a question, I hit. You have to attain it when you do it. You have to do it. So that there's not other stuff in your experience at that moment. Then if that becomes strong, yellow. You know, if I wanted to think about it, the first floor like this I saw was paper and lacquer. The way the Koreans used to put on these floors, because they're heated underneath, this is rice paper. No, this isn't, but they put down this rice paper with these edges overflowing, and then they'd cover it with lacquer. And like every 5 years, you had to redo it because the heating would cause it to dry out and crack. This is, you know, plastic or vinyl. So it's not as cool, but they're both yellow. So if you think about that, you know, or somebody thinks, I don't like yellow, you know, why can't it be, you know, blue? Blue's more calming, this kind of stuff. That's all from 7th and 8th consciousness, and it's tainting your mind. And that taints our daily, moment-to-moment experience. And then we get what we've got. You know, we're probably going to destroy the world, kill each other, a lot of killing going on. If the environment gets worse, there's going to be a lot more killing going on. And people have been doing this all the time. There were just places you could go where you could get away from it if you were lucky. Now, less and less. Dae Bong Sunim years ago was talking about this world completely fall apart. He meant society. And I think he first started talking sort of about that around 1983. He increased that style. He never looked upset about it, just kind of like, well, if we're stupid, that's what we'll do, you know. In around 1990, he had another way of talking about it, this fruit becoming rotten and dropping, but he was positive, you know. Other religions say the end of the world. A lot of people think the world will end. You know, people, they got books, and the books have stories about how the world's going to end. And they're kind of looking forward to it, a lot of people. So of course, they don't do anything to stop it. They just take care of myself right now, and then I'll go to heaven. A lot of people have that mind, you know. And 9/11, he talked about, he said this century will not be a good century for humans. Many, many suffering. That's what he felt. But when things are rotten, your seed is ripe, which means we can realize our true nature. So everybody's here, seeds, very good. Otherwise, why would you come here? And if you came here, you'd soon leave. Take this point seriously, you know. And Sahn was kind of cool. He gave us something to do. You know, hit the floor. You can feel it in your hand. You don't have to slam the floor. Some people slam the floor. You know, if you really got it inside, then that's good. But pay attention. Do it. Yeah, put the book down and pay attention. You may die a millisecond after you hit. It's the last thing you're going to do. Don't be thinking something else, because what we hold in this 8 makes what happens after we die. And that's what this is talking about. The karma that we hold in here. Everybody has lots of things that happen, but people hold different things. You know, somebody's shitty to you and you're just like, okay, and you forget about it. You just you don't spend a lot of time with them. Other people remember it. How many movies and TV shows are about revenge? That's holding something that happened and wanting to make that person suffer. And if you're holding that in here, when you die, you'll come back wanting to do that. That will reappear. If what you hold in here is, I want to practice, understand myself, and make a vow to help others, you'll come back and you'll run into good teaching again and practicing people. So don't worry about it. Just everybody try right now. Okay, let's try to hit the floor. Okay. Yeah, nobody does it, okay? I'm the only one who likes to do it, okay? I'll do it myself. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. You know, it's better than thinking. Oh, look, a little dust. Okay, good luck. You know what they say? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So that's why we say 2 things important in practice. Try mind and correct direction. So you guys try, it's great.
So is our vow or direction something that is made up, like in Alaya, or it's something that radiates naturally from this returning?
Not necessarily from this, but from the intention, the wish to help others. That's what it comes from. And if you have this, you'll get more skillful at helping others. That's right. But if we just have this, you're the cigarette man. Okay?